Hello, this is the CLOG Builder Video Manual Series, Video 3, and we're going to be getting started with OCICL in this particular video. As I mentioned, this is an alternative to Quick Lisp. It's fantastic for production builds, control over versions, can pin down versions, secure downloads and packages, all kinds of really neat, cool stuff. When you check out their GitHub, you'll understand more, and we'll get to that point, and we'll talk about it in a moment. Now, point is, Cloud Builder has been set up to play nice without Quick Lisp. There are various things that it can work with, but like I said, the point is it's ready to go for OCICL and works really nice. OCICL is based around a single directory, your project, right? As opposed to basically on QuickLisp, you have the entire world and every project that's out there. In this case, you've one directory that becomes your project directory. That's where everything is going to sit. And basically, the Cloud Builder, when it runs, is actually going to treat your directory, your project directory, is where it puts any of the other sub projects as well and things like that. Or you can configure it, of course, to do more, and that's another discussion. Once installed, you go to a new one. I mean, once the OCICL tool is a command line tool, that's once it's installed. And I'm actually going to show you this first, then we'll go backwards and talk about the OCICL tool. But basically, once it's installed, you go to a new directory or an existing CLOG project you wish to convert over to use OCICL, and you do a first-time setup, right? OCICL setup, and again, output to init, and the OCICL install CLOG. Pretty much anything in your ASD file is going to pull in whatever new installs you need afterwards. So, but you can, of course, opt to do it manually. Anything you want to add into your particular world, because again, your project directory is now your new world. Once you've done this, like I said, enter your SPSL world, SPSL user init, and what that does, it makes your particular world, your project directory, it makes that your universe, right? At that point, like I said, you go ahead and you start up SPSL with this world, and you say SDF load system as opposed to QL quick load. So CLOG Tools, CLOG Builder, and boom, you have CLOG Builder with your first project, which actually will be created on the fly the very first time that you start up in that directory. Or for that matter, again, you can create additional projects, etc. You'll see that. But anyways, point is, get the latest CLOG and more any point in time. OCICL latest, and everything gets updated just like that. Okay, now let's talk about, like I said, if you go to the CLOG, GitHub, the Rally button /CLOG, and you scroll down for advanced users, install and using OCICL on all platforms, which is what we're going to be talking about right now. So basically, we've already discussed general usage, as you just mentioned before, which is really straightforward. And boom, boom, set up in it, install CLOG, SPSL user in it. I basically, like I said, it's just to be able to quickly cut and paste a command line that gets you really right to where you want to go. On Windows, by the way, at least the very first time you have to do this. And that basically means that you've got to turn off the compiled file failure behavior to be warned, because otherwise the Swank backend will actually crash your build. But pretty much once you've done this the first time, you can deal with the cache version, or like once you've run the very first time with CLOG Builder, it will actually create a run OCICL bat file there. Anyways, that's a little bit more for afterwards. You'll see what that is. You can go backwards. I know I'm doing reversed. I didn't do the install first. I wanted to show you how simple it is to basically go from a couple lines to set up a brand new project, and away you go. Now the actual install itself. The actual install itself is pretty straightforward, actually. Install SBCL. So of course, most Linux, whatever your package manager is, but something like this. And then of course on a Mac, brew installs SBL. And what's pretty cool is OCICL is in Homebrew, which basically means that you get to skip step 2, which is actually building OCICL. On Windows, like I said, straightforward. Like I said, there's a platform table. Again, with the SPSL website, you can go ahead and 2.4.6 in this particular version right now. And like I said, install it. And then now comes step 2, which is installing OCICL, which is pretty straightforward. Just grab your GitHub, clone the project, SPSL, load setup.lsp, and boom, you're done. And then, of course, after here, you've got to make sure the OCL tool is going to be in your path. Now, OCICL is by default put in .local/bin or in app local OCICL bin in the Windows world. And like I said, in that particular situation, Linux box, most of them, if you go ahead and you don't already have things in that location, you close your terminal, reopen it, and boom, you've got it already set up to put that. But otherwise, just add it to your path. And Windows, like I said, directions to path are here in this file, OCICL.md on the CLOG GitHub. Create your project directory. Now, this is basically puts us back right where we talked about last time. So we're not going to spend much time again repeating ourselves. But the point is, you create your project directory and you go through that process, and boom, you got everything you need. Now, for Windows, don't forget, you're gonna probably want to do this every time. Download cloudframe.zip, which has in it cloudframe.exe, should you choose to use it. But most importantly is the 3 DLLs, which are again are fairly worthwhile. Which basically means that when it comes for one of them is optional, which essentially is SQLite, but the other two are really much a requirement. And again, to be able to really run any decent type of app on Windows. Okay, and that's really it. Very straightforward, very straightforward to basically get yourself up and running, your package up and running, everything beautiful, everything wonderful. I really find this type of system really nice. It works well, at least the way I traditionally have always developed, and I think most people have in a world that is essentially closed to your project as opposed to the whole universe, which is the way Quillless is. But again, I'm really hacking Quillless all day long. So I'm. But again, who knows? Maybe I'll find myself using this more often as the base for what I do. But really straightforward. Enjoy. I'll see you next video.